We planted one of our greenhouses totally full of onions, and then this one we were able to get about halfway full, and we have this big strip down the middle. Today our plan is to get some cattle panels set up down the middle here so that we're going to put tomatoes in here in about a week or so. That way that we can tie them to the cattle panel as they go up, kind of like a trellis. These are some of the cattle panels and other panels that we used in this house last year. We took them down, put them over here. We're going to change where we put the tomatoes this year, so they'll be over there. We got to get posts driven and get these set up, tie them onto the posts. We've got some pretty good sized dock growing in here. It's edible and it's really not too bad of eating, kind of sour. But in a greenhouse they're a weed. They're a weed that's really hard to get rid of though. They have a great big long root that it will break off if you try to pull it up, and if you leave any part of that root in the ground it grows.
Well, this is my carrot bed, and I had this black ground cover on it, and I took it off because I saw that the carrots are starting to sprout. But you can probably see a lot of green stuff in here. And these little tiny ones are carrots, but all of this is some other kind of weed seed and grass seed. So amidst all my carrots, I'm gonna have to come out here and patiently tear all these weed seedlings out of here. That kind of discourages me because I don't like to do that sort of thing, but it's got to be done if I'm gonna have a crop of carrots.
I see a number of small weeds coming up here, and before we put the panels in I just want to knock them down. I'm using a stirrup or scuffle hoe. Generally cuts just real shallow, and you just kind of chop the roots of the weeds off. You can cover a lot of ground real fast with this thing.
I used to live in the country on a high lonesome hill. Crow by day, by night the whippoorwill. I used to live in the country on a high lonesome hill. Crow by day and by night the whippoorwill. But I'm satisfied,
Move it over.
tickled too.
Since we're putting this in the center, I'm trying to line it up with the center of the building, just to keep it all straight.
So we're we're pulling out the plants so we can, and putting it over there so we can plant more stuff. These are those radishes, so we're just
And this is our winter lettuce, and we're going to feed it to the chickens too. Getting ready to plant something new in here.
There's still a good amount of kale right here in this one row. It's unbelievable how that kale produced all winter long. There's still a lot of beets in here, but they're pretty much still small. If they were left, they would probably grow some more, but I'm about to be done with them. And then there's still some spinach, but it's getting a little bit ugly and worn out.
Well, I'm going downtown with my hat caved in, coming back home with a pocket full of tin.
Never had that happen before. I was driving a post and suddenly the weight was less, and this is the plug that's in here that gives the driver most of its weight, and obviously the weld broke loose here. This drops down inside and then plugs that in. So I need to re-weld
Well,
this.
I'm going downtown with my hat caved in, coming back home with a pocket full of tin.
As I was using it, my post driver broke, so I'm going to put some quick welds on here and try to make this thing usable again.
But I'm satisfied, tickled too, just to be with you.
My dad got the post driver welded up, and I'm gonna do this post.
I used to live in the country on a high lonesome hill, crow by day, by night the whippoorwill. I used to live in the country on a high lonesome hill, crow by day, by night the whippoorwill. But I'm satisfied, tickled too, just to be with you.
Not going to the store, fresh fruit is hard to come by, and we're already missing it. So we're planting some strawberry plants in the front of our house to hopefully get a little bit of fresh fruit. We had a few that we planted years ago that just kind of propagated themselves. I dug all of them up from out there and moved them up here, and then we bought some plants as well. As we're planting them, they don't look like much now. Here's a bundle of them. They look about dead, but there's still life in most of these. They come back. The ones with the bright green leaves here are the ones we dug up that we've had for a long time. And then you can't really see the ones that we planted for the most part.
I like how you said most.
So here's one strawberry plant. I'm putting these about 8 inches apart, and this soil's nice and friable, so I just kind of chop it up so I can get in there, and then I dig out a hole. I spread these out trying not to damage the small roots on here, and then I make a little cone, put the roots around there so that they're spread out. You don't want them like super deep, they want to grow out, and then I cover it back up. You want to end up about where they were originally growing, right here at ground level. You don't want them too deep, you don't want them too far out of the ground, and then we'll come back and we'll mulch this some more. I'm doing a double row here, each row about 8 inches apart. This is a little bit tight planting. I think they'll be all right. We can't let them go too crazy in here at this tight of a planting, but it'll be okay.
But I'm satisfied, tickled too, just to be with you.
Okay, we're going fishing where I'm finding. Ooh, that's a big juicy one right there. There's... Yeah. They're trying to find a way out. This kitty cat wonders what we're doing here. There's a great big one right there, but he went too deep in there. Okay, we'll try another log. That one's got a big hole under there, like some kind of mammal has been there, not just fishing worms. Not much there. I bet something like a mole has been under there and collected dinner. I think you ought to lift these pallets up right here. Okay, don't let it drop on me. There's one. Oh, there's a big one, but if I'll rip him in half trying to get him out. Ooh, he's big. Look at that. He's big and very alive.